What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Division 2 video on Jack of All Trades. We're going to be mixing things up today and steering away from Legendary. We're actually going to be talking about Countdown. I've been dropping a few Legendary builds in. You got to get the pieces somehow, and the best place to do that is in Countdown. So in this video, we're going to go over how to make a Countdown build. What are the different factors you want to take into account when you're putting together a build for yourself. We're going to use one of my builds as a little bit of a template. We're not going to dive too deep into it. We're more talking about the philosophy of putting together a Countdown specific build. And of course, there'll be a build video for my top Countdown builds coming soon. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how it's set up. It's an 8-person thing. It's on a timer. So your missions are always going to be around the same time, 20-25 minutes. You got the 8-person squad, and it's kind of treated like a raid through how the matchmaking works, and you'll have 2 different sub-teams. With the 8-person squad, you're not going to want to run mechanics that are on kill. That's definitely the first point, is I would avoid running on kill mechanics like armor on kill and stuff like that. You are going to be getting some kills, but with how many people you are and how healthy the enemies are, which we'll get into right after, you're not going to be proccing those on-kill talents enough for me to say that it's warranted in running them. There's lots of other sustain mechanics and talents that you can use that will have much higher uptime than things that are on kill. When you're moving around in a group of like 8 people all the time, it's hard for you to guarantee that you're the one that's going to get the kill. Everyone's kind of DPSing at the same time. Moving on to the next thing is that the enemies are really, really healthy. So going back to that group mechanic, you're going to be moving together to try to DPS these very healthy enemies. And another thing that you want to consider when you're in a group, especially of 8 people, team buffs, like some people run Future Initiative or Opportunistic. All of these buffs that will help your team do more damage or help support them is going to be exacerbated by the fact that you're 8 people instead of 4. So that's 7 other people that are going to be taking advantage of these kinds of buffs. The enemies are very healthy in Countdown, and they're almost entirely elites. So you're only going to be fighting elites, except for like 1 or 2 reds and purples that spawn once in a while, but the vast majority of the enemies are elites. So you want to be doing a lot of damage, and you want to be focusing on sustained damage and not burst. When you're moving with a team, sometimes it'll feel more like burst damage. Your combined squad will be able to DPS targets down in 1 mag, but for the most part, you're going to be dumping mag after mag after mag into these enemies, especially when let's say you're the one on your team that's pushing the objective. A lot of the times the group can start to get into a DPS mentality and they'll just crowd a door and DPS the hell out of a door. Someone's got to be running around and pushing the objective, and that's what's great with having sustained damage. If you're caught out, you're going to be needing to put mag in after mag. So sustained damage is the way to go. And you'll see that in some of the what we've changed up here. The other thing you need to take into account with these healthy elite enemies is that protection from elites is king. You'll see this in almost all of my builds that are in the Incursion and in Countdown. Protection from elites is the strongest stat that you can spec into because it's directly multiplicative against the damage you take. I don't know the best way to word that, but if you have 50% protection from elites, you're taking in half the damage. It's just straight up. There's no weird scaling or anything. Of course, it's capped at 80%, I'm pretty sure. So you can't get higher than that. But if you're speccing into protection from elites, that'll have the biggest impact on your build and how it plays. More than anything else. Crits, damage, whatever. Protection from elites is king, and you're always going to want to run it. I'll show you quickly where that comes from. Okay? Protection from elites is found as a mod, so you can put it on your mod slot on any build, right, in the chest, mask, and backpack slots. Of course, there's the elusive 13%. I only have 1. You don't really need the 13. If you're lucky, you'll have some, but They usually drop as 11 or 12. Try to get as many 12s as you can. That's pretty much par for the course. And you can put them on your chest, mask, and backpack. The other place it comes from is the Survivalist Specialization. Let's go over to the tree there. But the Survivalist Specialization comes with 10% protection from elites in the tree. So that's another 10 there. Right at the top. There you go. You have that maxed out. 10% protection from elites. And the other thing you can do to get more of that is run improvised gear pieces, like you'll see I have on this build right here. Improvised gear swaps a brand bonus for a mod slot, essentially, and that mod slot opening up allows you to run more of those protection from elites mods. And then typically you would run improvised, you can run them in the gloves, holster, and knees slot. So that's kind of what you want to do to get some more protection from elites. If I was running the gloves as well on this build, I would be at max. I would be over max protection from elites. 71% protection from elites on this setup. It means I'm taking 71% less damage all the time because the only enemies you're fighting are elites. It is super, super strong, and you will notice it for sure. The other thing you want to think about in terms of your survivability for Countdown is that it's an isolated mission, and you kind of like you fly to it, kind of like the way the helicopter works. So when you come back in, it refills your nades and your armor kits automatically. So when you're thinking about survivability, I typically make most of my builds not considering armor kits at all. I want to be able to have high sustain and survivability, lots of utility outside of having to rely on popping armor kits. I really don't like doing that because they're consumable and you have to wait for one to drop or get to a crate for them. But in Countdown, you could pop all 4 armor kits throughout the course of the mission, and then the next one that you queue for, you'll have all 4 back. Same thing for your nades. So you don't need to worry too much about that. Have fun with it. You still, of course, want to have survivability. You don't want to be relying on sitting down there and putting a whole armor kit on every time you need armor. But it is something to consider that you can be a little more lenient if you're like me, you don't usually use armor kits. And then, of course, there's the hunters. Probably the toughest challenge of Countdown, not are the hunters in the beginning, but are the hunters at the end. So you face hunters, there's 4 at the beginning that are guarding the little buffs, and then you'll fight another, was it 4? At the end when you're trying to extract. The ones at the end when you're trying to extract are going to cause the biggest problems, and if you're not ready, it's going to be make or break for your team. You need to keep that into account when you're fighting hunters. Hunters will EMP you when they spawn in. They will EMP occasionally as one of their skills. They pop armor kits, and that can be really, really annoying. And they do a fuck ton of burst DPS. You really got to be careful. Even with this amount of protection from elites, even if I was running all blues, you still got to be careful. They'll be able to down you, especially if you have aggro from more than one hunter. So how do you want to take care of the hunters? The different strategies that you can take to get them out of their armor kit animation, to stall it. You can go up and melee them. So maybe you want to do an up close and personal build. The other thing you can do is run the foam. And you'll see a lot of players run this in Countdown. I highly recommend it. Just having a couple foam shots on you will go a long way if they're well timed. Hunter goes to take cover to pop an armor kit. You almost DPS them with your team. Shoot a foam. It'll get them stuck. And then you can finish the job. You can't just bring in... I mean, technically you can, okay? You could just bring in your legendary build or your heroic build into Countdown, and it'll probably perform. But over here, we're trying to optimize a little bit more than that and really take into account what's going on in the specific missions that you're trying to play. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video diving into the different facets of Countdown and how to put a build together for yourself. Of course, I showed off a little bit of one of the builds that I have going for Countdown, but I haven't shown you the good stuff yet. So stay tuned for the full build guide on my top Countdown builds. I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy.